Have you ever heard of the quote, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger"? As a matter of fact, there's a Kelly Clarkson song that states that quote as well. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I do not give my abusive ex-husband any credit for the woman that I am today. However, because I have gone through therapy and reflected on that situation, there are things that I took from having been in that abusive relationship that, because I know those things now, it helped me become a better person and to be able to help other people who are in that same exact situation that I was in. The things that I did learn coming out of that abusive relationship is, one, never be financially dependent on a man, meaning if for any reason his income is no longer a part of the equation and without it you would be homeless or wouldn't be able to eat or wouldn't be able to get basic necessities for yourself, you're in danger, girl. You always need to have some kind of income coming in. Even if it's, you stay home because you can't afford childcare. It could be selling things on Etsy. It could be, I was a nanny. I used to clean houses. There's gotta be some way that you can have income coming in. I really feel like it's smarter if, before you decide to have kids, unfortunately we as women just throw caution to the wind and we don't really take time to think things through and we end up paying for it. But I feel like you should, before you even have a child, you should save as if it basically is unemployment. Save for 6 months to a year of income. Because the funny thing about having children that a lot of people don't seem to understand is that while they are cute, they cost money. Remember years ago, I worked with this young woman and she couldn't even afford health insurance. Now we could do a whole topic about the United States and how fucked up the government is. But she was in a situation where she had to marry her boyfriend in order to get health insurance. She was in a situation where she could not afford to get weather appropriate clothing in order for her to wear to work. But she wanted to have a child. Now, this might seem like a hot take to a lot of people because you're judging people. If you're not in a good financial situation, you can't tell somebody not to have a child. You're definitely right. You can do whatever you want with your body. However, I think it is wise to be honest with yourself about that situation and say, is this a situation that I should bring a child into? I am wearing sandals in the wintertime. I cannot afford to buy boots. How am I going to afford to buy baby formula? One of my mutuals talked about this 2 years ago, I think, where romantic comedies have tricked women into thinking that there's this net that will catch us if we just move forward frivolously and make unwise decisions about our life and just blindly do things. And unfortunately, there is no net. And a lot of us wind up in situations that are very less than favorable and that are unfortunate, staying with a partner because you cannot afford to do anything on your own, or prolonging your escape because you have to put money away little by little, and just putting up with things that most people would never put up with, but you have to because you don't have any money saved. You don't have anything on your own. So if anything, that whole situation with my abusive ex-husband taught me, if you can't afford to be on your own, you cannot afford a relationship. Because I advise against it. So many people rush into relationships because they think that they're going to save some money if they combine incomes with a man. But then I say, hey, why don't you get a place with a family member that you actually like? Why don't you search for a roommate? Why don't you and your best friend get a place? People are like, no, I don't want to do that. But some random idiot that you just met last month can tell you that he loves you, and then you're going to move in with him, and you don't know him. That's the other option. You see how that's not really logical? But because we as a society value relationships so much, it's somehow seen as more, is somehow seen as the better option to rush and move in with a guy than it is to move in with your best friend or a family member that you actually care about, or to search for a roommate and do background checks and contracts and all that sort of thing. And I'm going to use this as an example. I know I said I was going to share a few different things on this video, but for some reason I just decided to park on this topic right here. Men are some of the most dangerous creatures on this planet, and we are constantly taught every single day to blindly trust them. Does that mean that there aren't women who will stab you in the back? Absolutely not. I know women who have completely betrayed me over the years, who have harassed me, who have bullied me, who have hated on me, all the things. But on that same token, no one has hurt me more than toxic men have. And also on that same token, no one has helped me develop into the woman I am today and turn my life around from being a broke single mom in 2008 to where I am now more than women have, and having community with other women. I'm going to end this video by saying this: if you are dead broke, you should not be dating, because you put yourself in a situation to rush a relationship, to put up with things that you don't need to be putting up with. You put yourself in danger for the sake of saving money on rent and light bills. And while I brought that up, there's this myth that 2 incomes saves you money. Not necessarily. Because what people tend to forget is, okay, well, I'm going to have somebody help me pay the light bill. Okay, it's not just you using the lights anymore. Now it's 2 people using the lights. Well, I'm going to have somebody help me with groceries. It's not just you eating food anymore. Now it's 2 people eating food. There's 2 car insurances. And if you have 1 car, there's 2 people using the gas. So you're ultimately going to be spending more money. And a lot of people are going to lie to themselves and say, not necessarily. Yeah, not necessarily if you are with somebody who has a significant amount of money. But let's be real, that's not the case for most Americans. And we could talk about what happens in a perfect world, blah, 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 but we don't live in a perfect world. And this is the hand we've been dealt. And as we advocate, as we try to make change, as we move forward, we have to be honest with what is going on in the moment. Because when it comes to being delusional, I totally believe in that when it comes to chasing your dreams. I don't believe in being delusional when it comes to romantic relationships with men, because most of the time it does not pay off for women. So if you are broke, you don't need to be on dating apps. You don't need to be worried about looking for the one. You need to do as I did. And I can talk about this because I've been through it, and I made the mistake of focusing on dating when I should have been focusing on straightening my credit and getting my money up. That's what I should have been focused on. Because it's a good feeling when you do want a companion, but you don't need one. It's a good feeling when you do meet a companion or whatever, and they start to act a fool, and you can end it because you don't need their help doing anything. That's a good feeling. And it also empowers you. Not every time, I know there's exceptions, but it does kind of empower you to make better choices as far as who you choose. Because when you are desperate, you are willing to choose whoever is willing to fill that spot in your life. So this is why my top message to women will always be to prioritize yourself and get your life in order before you even think about dating and relationships.